The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's Platinum webinar with your host, Todd Walters.
Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. Hope everyone's doing well. Looking forward to talking to you today about your business, specifically how you run the thing. So I want you to go ahead and get your questions together. Let's set this up right now before I get into the content and things that I want to share with you. I want you to think about yourself as a real estate agent for a moment, because that's what many of you that are watching today's webinar are. And you've heard Craig and I say that the more time you spend as the real estate agent in your business, or as a real estate agent in your business, the more difficult it is for this thing to grow beyond you, right? So a lot of people say, well, Todd, how have you been able to go from no real estate company at all, it didn't even exist 4 calendar years ago, to starting it up again, starting up the real estate company again from nothing, from scratch, and in 4 calendar years, 4 years, 48 months, have the thing to $300 million in sales volume. So, that's a pretty good question for sure, but understand, I've already done it once, so I kind of knew what to do, right? But this go around, the reason it happened much faster than the first time was because this time I don't have a real estate brokerage license in the way. In other words, I really am just working on the business on an everyday basis. So I want you to think about it from that perspective right now. Like, if you didn't have your real estate agent license, what is it that you would do every day? And that will quickly reveal the things that you should be doing every day, okay? But you let the selling of real estate kind of get in the way with it, which is interesting, right? Because we have to sell real estate. Like, we have to sell houses to have income. So we want to deal with this conflict on today's webinar and talk about the inner workings of your business, the ultimate leverage, so you can really sell more houses, okay? All right, so before we get into that, on the screen right now, I threw up our upcoming event schedule. So at this moment in history, when we're doing this webinar, what you're seeing on your screen is what's coming up. The thing I want to draw to everybody's attention first, before we get rolling too much here, is June 27th, 29th, down in Orlando, okay? We've got this Platinum Regional Boot Camp. So if you're not familiar with our regional boot camps, you got to get familiar really fast. So the whole first day is about you getting more listings. So we spend the whole first day drilling down specifically on the systems, the marketing systems, all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed, to get more listings than you're getting right now, okay? And it takes all day to get through that, but it's awesome. It's just me and you, and we're going through system by system by system, the best ones to get listings at this moment in time. Okay, there's over 40 that we have on record. Did you know that? There's over 40 ways that we have to get listings in our program here. But I'm going to bring up the top 7 right now that you should all have implemented, or at least be working on getting implemented and perfecting as you're implementing them, okay? That's the first day. Day 2, on the 28th, June 28th, we're going to work on your team, your people. You've heard Craig and I say, ABR, always be recruiting. Well, look, that's how good you are. You're as good as your team. Okay, so look around you. People that you have on your team right now, or no one on your team, that's how good you are. That's how good your team is. So ABR, always be recruiting, not always be hiring, but day 2 is spent on recruiting and hiring and training a super profitable real estate sales team, from administrative person to outside sales agent to inside sales agent, all those moving parts and what that looks like. That takes all day on day 2 to do that, okay? On day 3, June 29th, is technical training on the CRM, the contact management system, CP Millionaire Agent, powered by Commissions Inc. Okay, so it's June 27th, 28th, 29th. That's the next big Platinum Millionaire Agent Maker program event. So I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to reserve their seat and get there. It will fill up. It's a great hotel, by the way. at the Gaylord Palms down there. It's got a pirate ship inside the hotel. So if you've never been to the Gaylord Palms, it's awesome. You're going to walk in, you're going to see this big pirate ship in there. There's a bar inside the pirate ship, which I know many of you will be frequenting when you get there. So, and maybe I'll join you. Okay? All right, so took care of that business so everybody can get to the schedule events tab. Okay? And go ahead and take care of that and make your arrangements for that. Okay? Schedule events. And we'll see you at the Platinum Business Building Bootcamp, June 27th, 28th, and 29th in sunny Orlando, Florida. All right. Okay. So I've got an email here, and I don't know if I still have it up on my screen. I think I might have minimized it, but I'm going to give myself 15 seconds to find it. So bear with me, because it's really good. It's really good. I'm not going to look for it very long. There it is. I found it. Okay. Let me throw it up on the screen. Here we go. All right, so I think you guys can see this, because this will really get into some of the things I want to share with you today. Okay? Now, grab a notepad and grab a pen, because this is going to be a little different webinar. I'm going to stretch your brain a little bit on your whole business. I'm going to start with my story. I've got a PowerPoint slides here that I want to show you some of, not all of them, but just a few of them. So we're going to jump around here a little bit. But this is about you and your future. Okay? So number one on your notepad that you have, I want you to tell me what your vision for your real estate business really is. Like, why in the world are you getting up and going and doing this every day? So, you know, there's a few hundred on this webinar right now. Platinum members, like, what are you guys doing on the webinar? So what'd you get up and come to work today for? Like, why are you doing this? What is your vision for this real estate business? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me, my background, the way I saw this when I first met Craig Proctor in the early 90s, okay? When I first got connected up with Craig, when I'm sitting in the conference, the super conference at the Royal York Hotel, okay, the first conference I'd ever been to, I had already bought the Craig Proctor's Quantum Leap system. Okay, he was packaging that and selling that in a box well before he did his first couple of conferences. Okay, so I remember buying the thing, you know, and then I ended up going to a conference, and here's what I'm thinking while Craig is doing this. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that there's Craig Proctor, this guy, real estate agent, #1 RE/MAX agent worldwide, making well over $1 million a year selling real estate, and he's not selling any real estate. So I'm going to repeat. While I'm sitting there, yes, I'm seeing all of the systems that he's presenting, his ads, his the buyer presentation, listing presentation, his team concept, and all those things. I'm watching it all unfold, but I can't get over the thought that while I'm sitting there, I'm not selling any real estate. But while he's standing there, he is. But him personally is not selling any real estate. He's putting on a seminar about selling real estate, but he's not doing it, but yet he is. You get what I'm saying? He's selling houses while he's showing me his business system. I'm in the audience watching all this play out, but I'm not selling any houses. #1, because I'm in Toronto at the Royal York Hotel, and back in Metro Atlanta, Georgia, nobody's selling any houses for me on my behalf or on my team, because it's not even there. I think I might have had an assistant or something at that time. But so I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that for a moment. Okay, so that's what's going through my mind as I'm seeing all this play out. So I get back to Atlanta, and I start working on this thing, and things start to change very rapidly for me. But I didn't spend much time on the marketing and the advertising. That was easy. I just took what Craig was telling me, what he was giving me on the marketing and advertising, and put it out into the marketplace. Okay, I remember the unique selling proposition, performance guarantee, your home sold guaranteed, No, your home sold in 60 days. I'll pay you $1,000 cash. It was the very first thing, performance guarantee I ever ran back here in the early 90s, in the mid 90s, and I just started sending that out into the marketplace, wherever I was, whatever I was doing, just like Craig was telling me. People started calling me that weren't calling me before. Okay, remember running the classified ads, the editorial ads. I was getting leads that I wasn't getting before. So in other words, I wasn't doing anything on the marketing except just copying it. I really was. The USP ads that would run in the real estate book and magazine, I copied Craig's. I just put in my listings and other people's listings and in that to fill up the space in there. I remember ads running with Craig's picture on it instead of mine. Like I forgot to take his picture off. I remember the ads running with my picture and Craig's name. I remember the ads running with Craig's phone numbers and websites. Like that's what I meant. Like it was such a race to copy the ads and the marketing, and I didn't spend time on it. That's why I made mistakes like that. And then my assistant, came to my rescue, right? So what was I doing with my time? Well, obviously I was following up with the leads and calling back the leads, converting leads, going on appointments. But what about all the other time? Still a lot of hours in a week, right? It was spent trying to figure out how in the world to do all these things without me. In other words, running the business. How is it going to run? How are these things going to take place? How are all of this stuff going to get done without me so that I could go and do the things that I wanted to do in life and still sell real estate, okay? So I spent enormous amounts of time every day, every week, every month working on the business and getting these systems set up to run without me. So truth be told, the reason I was able to sell 400 to 500 homes a year and make millions of dollars a year selling real estate and not have to go on a bunch of appointments is because I was really good at copying Craig Proctor's business systems. Not necessarily, that was the easy part. So what I see here from you, many of you that are watching today's webinar, staring at your computer screen and this email that I've got up here, you spend enormous amounts of time on the marketing and the advertising of your business, changing things, spinning them around, going back and forth with envelopes and ad copy, and spending time on these marketing clinics that we have every week. I'm just watching this play out with many of you, and I don't understand all that because the ads are pretty easy to copy and run. So that I don't get. That's why I'm saying, like, your ability to copy and implement the marketing systems, simultaneously growing them and expanding them, which means adding new ones. Your ability to do that will dictate how fast and how fat your business grows, because what is going to cause or need your attention is the operational side of your business and getting things done without you, getting these systems and things set up, right? So I wanted to do this webinar today to get your attention set on that so that you can spend less time on your marketing and advertising, because it should be copy and implement, right? And more investment into the systems, the system to run your real estate business, okay? So I went to a Platinum member's office not too long ago, a couple of years ago. I remember walking in to their office, and $2 million gross commission income agent, and it was a mess, man. They had a lot of people in the office, administrative people, and I didn't understand why there were so many admin people until I started digging around a little bit and found out that their contact management system that they had on their computer, they didn't really use. They still used folders, paper. So there were folders everywhere, man. There was a folder for this, folder for that, and it was piled high on people's desks, and there was a lot more people required because there were a lot more folders. Customer service issues. You couldn't get beyond a couple of $1 million in gross commission income for a good reason. The right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing, so constantly putting out fires and doing customer service issues because of those inefficiencies in the systems. Make sense? Okay. Well, good. Glad it makes sense. All right. Well, let's take a look then at how we can better streamline and put all this stuff together. And I want to start with just this whole concept of leverage in general. If you really understand what it means to leverage people and systems, okay? So I got this email here from Blake. So here's Blake, and I'll just kind of read it here. I hired a customer service manager to take care of all current and past clients. In 2 weeks, she's generated 2 referrals from current clients and outstanding reviews. She's also troubleshooted and, let's see, it's covered up here, and not even involved me, which has been amazing. See attached text I got from a current client. Thanks, guys, for helping me make this, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, he hired a customer service manager, and he's astounded. Blake is shocked, astounded that he's actually making money from bringing in someone to do these things. So here's what's really interesting for many of you. Many of you need people right now to do things that will make you money so that you can go and work on your business more, book more appointments. I mean, think about that. But yet, you know that when you bring in the right person, it will change the game for you. Like it will allow you to accomplish so much more, but you don't do it. And you throw in this reason of, well, when I have the money, then I'll go and hire that person. Or, let me see if it works first. And then, I'll go out there and hire the person. That's just weird. I don't know how to explain it. I don't understand that. So all I can do is point out to you how that kind of thinking will keep you from being ultra successful. What will make you ultra successful is actually doing the things that you know will get you a bigger result, not thinking about them or waiting on them. Okay? You accomplish bigger things by actually doing things, implementing stuff, not by waiting or hoping or that kind of, way of thinking. All right? Does everybody get that? All right. So I sent this email out to a few guys, and I think I sent it to, I forget who I sent it to right now, but I sent it out to a handful of people. And the one thing that I wanted to ask you as we get into some of these business operation systems and you doing a better job of it, is this question right here. So write this down. How many, here it is right here, I got it on this email. Let me just highlight it, here we go. I don't know if you guys can see that. How many appointments could you generate? Okay? How many appointments could you generate if all you did every day was call back the leads for 6 hours a day? 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. 6 times 5, that's 30 hours a week. How many leads, all right, how many appointments rather, how many appointments could you get if that's all you, team leader, you did? You didn't go on any appointments. You didn't show up any houses to buyers. You didn't typeset envelopes. You didn't stuff envelopes with materials. You didn't do anything but walk in your office, sit down at your computer, and for 6 hours, you call back the leads. 5 days a week. What would that do to your business? Write that down right now. Just give you a moment to write that down. And just a few seconds to think about it. Okay? All right, I'm going to read the question again. This requires some thought here for a moment. How many appointments could you generate if all you did, you didn't do anything else, walk in your office 5 days a week, 6 hours a day, call back the leads, and did nothing else? How many appointments could you get? All right, so you got this in your head? All right, well, let me ask you then. That's a lot of appointments, right? So you want to know the answer to your cash flow issues or business expansion issues, getting more business, getting more closings, making more money, all of those things that you want. If you want to know the answer to all those things, that's it. Call back the leads. If that's really true, if you would get that many more appointments, if that's all you did was call back the leads, then at somehow you have to make that happen. It has to happen. All right, so we need 30 hours here from you, maybe more depending on how many more leads you have, but you need 30 hours of calling back the leads, and you see what the equal sign will get you. That's a lot of appointments. What would you do with that many appointments? Right, you have to go on some of them. Other people would be needed to go on the appointments, right? Okay. All right, so how can we get there? Well, let's take a look and see and drill down on that a little bit more, okay? All right. So how many appointments could you generate if that's all you did to call back the leads? All right, so everybody's got that? All right. So here's what I suggest that you do. Now, some of you are excluded from this because you're like, okay, well, I don't call back any leads, but they are. I've got 60 hours a week in calling back leads, but I'm not doing it. I have other people doing it, okay? So which means those people have already discovered, and I can name the names, and many of you know who they are. They've already discovered how important this is. So Craig and I have this conversation often. Andrea, I know you've heard it before, that many of the agents know the most important thing to growing their business is calling back the leads and getting appointments, but it's the first thing they don't want to do. So they pretend it's not important, and they go and do other things, right? And they just kind of push back on calling back the leads and stuff, right? But it is the last thing that you give up. The last thing that you give up. You learn things from doing this. So here's what I want you to do, okay? I want you to go, and I want you to do a test, okay? For the next 30 days, I want you to carve out 2 hours a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for the next 30 days, okay? 2 hours a day for the next 30 days. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for the next month. Did I get that right? Yes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. 2 hours. Okay, that's 10 hours a week of calling back the leads done by you. That's just 2 hours. That's not 30. It's 2. All right? Can you do that? And the answer is, well, of course you can. Of course you can. You just have to schedule it in. It's just like you going on a listing appointment or going on a buyer appointment or whatever. So schedule the time in and call back the leads. And in 30 days, here's what your business is going to look like. You're going to be overwhelmed with appointments, okay? And it will be way easier for you to get outside sales agents to come in because you're going to have appointments, okay? You're going to be really busy. And it will jumpstart your team. So truth be told, whenever I got into a cash flow problem in my business, that's what I did. I sat down and called back more leads. I didn't generate more leads. I already had plenty. We just called them, me. So whenever I got into cash flow problems, and I did, just like many of you have or will, sat down, called back the leads a couple hours a day. That was the solution to me getting more business, okay? All right. Now, look, I know some of you need more leads. If you don't have enough leads to call back at least 2 hours a day, if you don't have enough leads, then you've got a marketing problem. Okay, so you want to get with your coach and begin to generate overflow of leads. Okay, marketing systems to generate overflow, more than you can call back. All right, so first, I'm sitting down talking to an agent a couple days ago, and I said, okay, you're going to do this for the next 30 days, and I want you to report back with the results. I already know what they're going to be. And he's like, well, I already know what they're going to be too. I'm going to be covered up with appointments. I'm like, well, yeah. So who should you call? So number one, you're going to cherry pick the leads, and the leads that you should call back are all the seller leads or potential seller leads first. Okay, so let me repeat that. All of the seller leads or potential seller leads. Potential seller leads would be buyers with houses to sell. Okay, buyers with houses to sell that you can identify as being local in your marketplace. That you call those back, and the call will go something like, "Hey, Mr. Smith, this is Todd Walters Real Estate. We talked not too awful long ago about real estate, or maybe you haven't talked to them at all, but they've been hanging around a while, so you're finally catching up with them. And the conversation is like, hey, Mr. Smith, we received your request to search for homes on our property search site. We set you up to do that some time ago. I just wanted to follow back up and see if you guys had bought a home yet. And they're going to say no. Say, well, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Do you currently rent, or do you own? Do you prefer to sell your home, your existing home, before buying your next house and then close with the CMA offer? Do something different. See, the reason that many of you don't want to call back the leads is because you believe it's going to be negative. It's going to result in something that you don't want to deal with, right? Okay, well, let's do something you do want to deal with. Get listings. So call back the leads that will get you listings. Okay? So focus on those leads first and delegate the overflow to others. All right. Now, the reason I mention these to you is because when you get more listings, your business will level out and not be so much of a roller coaster. It'll be an upward straight line versus a roller coaster ride. More listings will be more consistent cash flow. Rick and I were talking about this earlier today with a coaching, with a platinum member. Okay, straight line upwards, more listings. Buyers with houses to sell, seller leads. Get with your coach to generate those kinds of things. But right now, you're going to spend more time calling back the leads because you know that to be the number one most important thing. Okay, so now, as you're doing that, you're going to learn things. You're going to learn whether these people have ever heard of you before. You're going to learn if your follow-up marketing systems to these people are working or exist, or whether they're getting your stuff or know about it. You're going to know whether you're going to need to work on pre-selling systems like the ultimate converters of the bomb. Okay? You're going to learn where most of your business is coming from versus what you're spending money on. Is it really getting your return? You're going to learn all those things from talking with the leads. And then that's going to tell you what to do next as it pertains to working on your business in the systems. Because that's what you're going to do with the other time. You're going to go on listing appointments, delegate the buyers, and you're going to work on systems to do the things that you need to get done consistently in your business every day, okay? So let's run through a few PowerPoints and talk about this, and then I want you to ask me questions about the inner workings of your business, and I'll do my best to answer them specifically versus being so general, on this webinar. Now that I've kind of got you set up and motivated to actually make a change or a quantum leap in your business, looking at it a little bit differently maybe than you did before, okay? All right, so here's the core operational team makeup of your business, okay? Looking at this PowerPoint slide. All right, there's you. You've got your database manager, leads coordinator, okay? What does this person do? Well, many of you long for the day for leads to come in and then leads to go directly to an agent automatically. Lead comes in, lead goes to agent automatically. That's not good. Somebody's eyeballs need to be on the leads so that you make sure the best agent gets the best leads, right? You probably tell your leads coordinator, database manager, whatever, hey, when the home evaluation leads come in, send them to me. If somebody calls on the guaranteed sale program, send it to me. If it's a buyer with a house to sell, send it to me. Like, you probably are telling this assistant to do those things. And if not, well, that's what their job is. Their job is to get the leads, get them in the database, look at them, and then decide who gets them based on your rules. Okay, and then they go back within 48 hours to make sure that the leads are being followed up with, and if they're not, move it to the next person. That's a monitorization or a monitoring of the system that you create. Okay, so you can never, listen, you can never singularly set up a system. It always must be a backup or a monitoring. I got this text today from Sarah Reynolds. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. So Sarah texts me and says, hey, I just landed in Nathan Clark country, the rainy, gloomy north, LOL. I think Rhode Island's a pretty nice place, but anyway. Knowing both of us, is there something you think I should focus on while here that I need to learn or take from Nathan? Okay, that was her question for me. I texted her back. I said, yes. There should be a backup or cross-trained every person with monitoring at every system and every level within the business. Never just one set of eyes. Okay, that was my response. Now that's obviously sounds like a pretty big project, but it's pretty simple. When you create a system, what's the backup? What's the cross-train? What's the cross-reference? Who's the other set of eyes? So in this case, if I'm giving the leads directly to my database manager, my leads coordinator, the office quarterback, as Craig called it, they're going to get the leads and give them out to the best agent on the team based on the rules that I write. How do I know that it's being done? Okay, well, I can see it the same time they can see it. How do I know that the lead is that they're given the agent is getting the lead? How do I know that the agent is calling back the lead? Because there's also a scheduled activity for the database manager within 48 hours to double check, see if it's been called back, made touch with, or whatever. And if not, it's got to be moved to another person. So it doesn't just be given away and then that's it. There's a backup. There's a monitoring that takes place. Okay? And that goes on at every level with every admin, with everything that you do. So in your contact management system, CP Millionaire Agent, which is what you guys should be using, and get involved in and using our activity plans and modifying them for your assistance, just understand that you can see it just like the assistant can see it, just like maybe somebody else needs to see it, being done or not being done. Okay, pretty sweet, right? You like that? Okay, all right. So here is the organizational chart for you, the Millionaire Agent System. Okay. Outside sales agents, as many as necessary to handle the overflow of appointments that are being generated. Inside sales agent, the number of people necessary to be able to call back the leads and book appointments with a little bit left over. Let me repeat, a little bit left over. There should always be slightly more business than your team can handle. Otherwise, it will never grow. So if you've got people at your company, your sales team, and you're getting to all the leads in business, so you got a problem, man. You got a marketing problem. You need an overflow. There always should be slightly more than you can get to. It's okay not to get to all the leads. It's okay. Okay? Always should be slightly more than you can handle. Otherwise, you won't have opportunity for growth. You understand that, right? Customer service manager. You saw that from Blake. Some people are like, well, I don't really need a customer service manager. Listings are selling really fast. There's no feedback to get offered. Okay, well, Blake's listings sell pretty fast. What is this customer service person doing? It's making sure the job that everyone is supposed to do is being done. And when it's not getting done, they fill the gaps, report back to Blake, and systems and things are modified to make sure it does get done. Oh, and while they're at it, they get referrals. And while they're at it, they get testimonials and reviews. What is a review and a testimonial and a referral worth? Is that worth the investment of a person to help me accomplish those things? And the obvious answer is yes. Okay, if need be, right? So I can keep going all the way around with each one of these things, but all of these jobs, these positions in the organizational chart can be leveraged to bring in business. A lot of it. Okay? All right. So, what do you do? Specifically, what are you doing each day? Well, we've already talked about some of that. You're calling back the best leads, cherry-picking the leads, and cherry-picking the appointments. Calling back the best leads to set appointments for you and the other agents on your team. And we just decided for most of you, not all, but most of you, you're going to do that a couple hours a day for the next 30 days, and we're going to see what happens. You're going to report back to me and your coach, and you're going to tell us what the outcome is, right? For some of you, you're already beyond that right now, okay? But you understand the premise of it, and you're now working on expanding or duplicating that, right? What kind of appointments are you going to go on? Well, you're going to go with you're going to go on the listing appointments, okay? Until such time as the income, listen, until such time as the income from other people on your team exceeds the amount of money that you need for your personal nut, okay, that's a time when you really don't need to go on appointments anymore. So if your personal nut is $200,000, then and you need another, say, $200,000 to run your business, right? So when the income from other real estate agents equals $400,000, $200,000 to cover the operating expenses, $200,000 cover your personal nut. Guess what? You don't really need to go on any appointments anymore. Don't need to doesn't mean you don't do it. I'm just saying it's not necessarily necessary. So you can ease up, work on the business more, recruit, hire, and train more people. Okay? So I threw in here on this bullet point, negotiate tough sales and offers. I don't know about you, but on my real estate sales team, when you're doing dozens of transactions a month, there are deals that go south for stupid reasons. Would you agree? Like just makes no sense. So you want to be able to know when those deals are taking place that are being done by others and be able to jump in there and change the outcome. You can call it critical offers or pendings so that you can jump in and change the outcome. Based on your experience level, right? You know things that others don't know. Okay, that maybe you haven't sold as many houses, right? Okay. The other thing is tracking where the business is coming from. So I want you to look at this. You're looking at your numbers every month. Where's our money coming from? Where's our income coming from? And what are we spending it on? So in other words, make a list. This is everything we spent money on to make money. But this is where the actual closings are coming from. And you compare the two. So you're tracking lead flow. It's not that you're just looking to see how many leads you got. It's like we're spending money on getting business, and this is what we're making money from, and you compare the two so you'll know what to spend more investment on, what to stop doing, or check to see what you need to do to make it better or stop it altogether. How do you know what to work on if you don't know where the issues or problems are, right? Okay. Network. Okay, so network means spending time around and with people that are doing what you want to do. Okay? It makes no sense to go network with people that don't sell as many homes as you or they're not doing the things that you would want to do, right? So you want to go hang out with people that are doing what it is you want to aspire to. So I made it a point to network, invest my time in Craig Proctor and the other program members that were doing really well early on in my relationship or association here. Okay? So getting to like the June Business Building Bootcamp should not be optional if you have time or available. It's your opportunity to do that very thing that you know is a fundamental, absolute principle of success. You are who you hang out with. The other thing on the list here, think and grow. You've heard Napoleon. Most of you guys have read Napoleon Hill's book, right? Think and Grow Rich. So Think and Grow Rich, Think and Grow Rich, Think and Grow Rich. Yes, great book. I think most of you read it. If you haven't, make a note of that and go get that book and read it. Okay, so you've heard me joke at the conferences before, right, that I would sit around in my office and figure out or think about how not to do things. Many of you, write this down on your notepad, many of you confuse being busy with being productive. Let me repeat. Many of you confuse being busy with being productive. So, is what you're working on right now going to make you or will make you a quantum leap? That's the label or the question or the lens, rather, that you look at whatever you're doing right now. So right now, we got a few hundred people watching their computer screen and making notes and thinking about this. So will this make you a quantum leap? The answer is, oh, no question. If you do the things that we're talking about so far in the last 30 minutes here on this webinar, you got a quantum leap, man. You're staring right in the face of it. Okay? Pretty good, huh? So it's what you're thinking about, or what you're doing whenever you're doing it. So when we hang up this webinar, you guys are going to go do something. Is what you're doing going to make you a quantum leap? And guess what? If it ain't, then you got to ask yourself, why in the hell am I doing it? Like that's how you look at this. So that served me really well back in my early on in my career here path in business building. Is what I'm working on going to make me a quantum leap? Okay. Now the next question is the second thing right here. Is what I'm doing right now, can it be done by somebody else? All right, and if the answer was yes, then why the heck am I doing it? If this can be done by somebody else, why am I doing it? How many people can I get doing the everything that needs to be done? Not in terms of acquiring more people, but having less people do more things. That was where the systems come into play. The systems will tell people what to do and how to get more done in less time. Okay, that's how this is supposed to work, right? So your job here is to create the systems, and in your case, it's not hard. You just copy them. Okay, get it up and running and get it delegated. Monitor it. Delegation means monitoring. Abdi means giving it away, never looking at it again. So delegate means you're going to create the system, give it away, and monitor. Monitor. Okay, so this is what you do. So what you're looking at right now is what you do. So if you're out running around doing other things, then just don't expect much to change for you in your life. Just don't think. As a matter of fact, you probably can expect it to change. It'll just get worse. Like you'll spend less time with your kids. You'll spend less time pursuing outside interests and activities. That's what will happen. Okay? Because you go down the road of implementing some of our marketing systems, you can absolutely get overwhelmed with leads. And all of you, I shouldn't say all of you because some of you guys just showed up here. The vast majority of you watching this webinar have more leads at this moment in your business career than you've ever had in your entire life of doing this, right? You got more business, more leads than you've ever had. So just imagine a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're going to have even more leads. So if you're not doing these things and getting the rest of it delegated and these systems set up, you can imagine where you're going to look. It's going to be even more. It's going to be worse. You're going to be even more tired. Okay. All right. So that's pretty good. Good discussion on what you should be doing and how you should be doing things. Okay. I'll throw this PowerPoint up here, and then we're going to take a look at a few of the activity plans, and then I'm going to take some questions for you. So get your questions in the queue. Raise your hand. We'll take some of those live and deal with this specifically for you, okay? Office manager. I'm not big on an office manager position. Here's what Craig and I believe your office manager should be, okay? They are your right-hand person. If we lined up all of the millionaire agents using our system right now, one of the commonalities they would all have is they all would have a right-hand person, a good one, a good right-hand person that probably they've had for quite some time. Someone they can really depend on, rely on, that's got their back, that they leverage in good ways. It's a get-her-done person. So your office manager is this person, okay, for the most part. That's your office manager. And they do other things for you as well, okay? They can do anything and everything you want them to do. But management, listen, many of you have this idea that you want to build your business up and then manage it. And that's not what you want to do. It'll go out of business. Let me repeat. If your vision is to grow your business to $1 million in net income a year and then manage it, well, guess what? You will go out of business. It will only go backwards. Your business will always require a leader, i.e. an entrepreneur, i.e. a rainmaker. Always. Because things are going to change in the culture, in the society, and supply and demand, all those forces and competition will always be working against you. So you'll never be in a position to get your business up and just manage it. Okay? In other words, stop being the entrepreneur. You will always have to be the team leader, the entrepreneur, or if not you, somebody else will. Okay? but you can get a manager to manage people. Francois McKay hired Julie a few years back for his business to get between him and the agents on his real estate sales team so he could spend his time working on his business. He was finding himself working with the agents on a day-to-day basis where they come to his door and would knock and say, hey, Francois, you got a minute? You know, and it's never a minute, right? So that's why Craig Proctor decided not to go to his office. He said, you know what, I'm not going to stay in here and have everybody come to me and say, you got a minute, you got a minute, you got a minute. I'm just going to work from my house. So Craig, his answer was, I'm going to go to my house, and Catherine is going to be the office manager. She's going to make sure this stuff gets done so I can work on the business. I won't be bothered by agents asking me if you got a minute, you got a minute, you got a minute. So a good right-hand person. All right. Okay, now, this flow chart right here that most of you are very familiar with, okay, very, very familiar with, rather. Lead flow chart is a good example of a system, flow chart, system. What happens when the lead comes in? I'm not going through it. We've done this countless times, and if you're kind of new here, this is available to your fingertips, but this is exactly what should happen when a lead comes in. Okay, but you have to set your business up to work this way. It can't just be in your head. You set it up to be this way. So when a prospect contacts you, what happens? Well, it comes in by phone, comes in by email, comes in by information line. Fill out a form on your website would be like an email. Gets automatically maybe added to your CRM based on the form that they fill out. If it's a pay-per-click lead through Commissions Inc., right in the CP Millionaire Agent, for example. But either way, the leads, someone needs to know the lead is there, okay, and that it's properly tagged, source-coded, and given promptly to the best agent to call back the lead, which for most of us will be an inside sales agent, okay, or us, okay, and so that means that there's systems that are making this happen, that work efficiently and move really fast, okay. How about this one? Lead is dropped right here. Let me get my little drawing tool. There we go. Lead is dropped because quality of lead is poor. What does that mean? Right, so it's just not somebody determines it's a bad lead. All right, well, look at, do you want your inside sales agent determining whether the lead is bad or not? And the answer is, yeah, probably. But that doesn't mean you delete it because another agent said the lead's no good. Better delete it. Worse, your inside sales agent clicking the delete button because they said the lead was no good. So when we talk about lead is dropped because quality of the lead is poor, that doesn't mean your inside sales agent has the autonomy to delete the lead and clear out the database. Someone needs to verify that the lead is dropped or the lead is no good. So you have to have a system in place for that. Right? Because it's funny, right? The agents will just tell you that none of the leads are any good. So they delete them all. All right, so yeah, you'll need a system for that, and you have to monitor it. So another set of eyes. So who would monitor this? Well, here's who did it in my office. Okay, this guy was trained by me. Okay, here I am over here, Rainmaker guy. So I'm working with my lead manager, okay, to verify whether that lead is really no good. And if it was suspect, then we gave it to another ISA. Just like it was a brand new lead. This other inside sales agent didn't even know it. Or we gave it to an OSA because we were showing ISAs, or I called them back. How many times have you done that? Give me the freaking lead. Let me call them. Let me see what's going on here. And you call them and it's like, okay, yeah, that lead was no good. Or it's like, well, that lead was good. All right. Sorry, I'm getting scribbly with my drawing tool. So let me get back to it. All right. So let's look real fast then at some examples of some systems. All right, so within CP Millionaire Agent, we got all of our activity plans already added. but they just look like this. They're just lists of things to do. You have to determine who's going to do them on your team and assign the activity to the right administrative person. And of course, our definition of things, you know, you may use different words. How, you know, what the technical jargon is, I don't know, but preferably you should be able to copy these plans pretty much verbatim if you actually look at them and use them within CP Millionaire Agent, the contact management system. So I want you to picture this. You going to Hawaii, spending 2 weeks in Hawaii without talking to your office or your team or your people, assuming you have some. Sipping on pina coladas, people come in your office, you are sipping on pina coladas, not sitting on the beach. The people come into your office, they cut the computer on, and it tells them what to do. It just tells them what to do. They just have to do the things that the system is telling them to do. Right? So that's what activity plans are. Okay, like this buyer appointment plan or the seller appointment plan. Okay? That's how it works, man. One of the things on here I'll show you guys, and I mentioned this to you before, but I'm going to do it again here. All right? This is important. Here and here, these last two things. Okay? Update appointment schedule. Back in the day, it wasn't automatic. We had to actually add another activity to tell somebody else on the team, me or the database coordinator, leads manager, that there was an appointment set for an agent to go on. So in other words, there was being monitored. Yeah, there's an appointment set, but other people know there's an appointment set and there are eyeballs on it. Okay? After the appointment, agent comes back, like, we're not there, right? You're not at the appointment with the buyer's agent. You're not at the appointment with your listing agent. You're not there if you're delegating appointments out. So when they come back without the signed agreement and they say, oh, well, you know, the buyer decided they would wait, or the seller said that, you know, they're going to wait and think about it. And then how many times have you gone on to see that the buyer go buy a house with somebody else, or the seller would list their home with somebody else, right? So if they come back without the paperwork, they're going to have a reason for it every time. So my job is to verify whether the reason is accurate or not. And I'm going to learn things when I make the call after the appointment, the autopsy call. Come back without the paperwork, let's call and see what we need to do to get their business. Okay? It just happened. And many times we'd find out that the agent didn't use the benefits presentation, didn't use the PowerPoint presentation. The agent was talking about a price range that the seller didn't like. You know, the seller wanted to price their home a little higher. The agent wanted to price a little bit lower, but the seller had to sell, had this other home, had another home under contract with non-refundable earnest money on it. So obviously we would take the listing. So you learn things from these calls about the deficiencies or inefficiencies of your system. So everything is monitored. So what you're learning here today, as we've walked through over the last 45 minutes here, talking about your business and what it looks like behind the scenes, is you're discovering that there's monitoring that goes on at every level. Okay? Nothing is singularly done. Okay? Example, recently at the conference, remember, the number on the for sale sign goes directly to your inside sales agent. They take the call, and then guess who runs your business? The inside sales agent. Number rings on the sign, goes directly to your inside sales agent's phone. They answer it. I get all the information I want, hang up, they never get anything from me. Okay? My contact info or nothing. So happens, that's what I'm saying. That's not a system. You may think it is, but it's not, because systems can be monitored. You can't monitor that. All you can do is the inside sales agent tell you that there was a lead that came in, or tell you that the lead was no good, or tell you that they were just looking, or whatever their excuse or mechanism might be. And you can't do anything about it. It's all gone. Okay? So monitoring at all levels of your business is the way you grow this thing, and you learn what you're missing and what you need to work on more specifically. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now I know there's some questions, so I want you to get your questions ready. I've got more stuff that I could talk about and show you, but before I get too deep here or further along and off track, probably should answer or look at a few questions. So let's do that. So Andrea, I'm going to throw it back over to you. You tell everybody on the webinar here what they need to do right now.
Okay,
to
if
talk.
you haven't done so already, go ahead and type your question and comment in the chat box, or click the hand icon if you have a mic on your computer or you're dialed in on the telephone today.
All right, so while you guys are doing that, and we're getting all that lined up, on the screen is a new listing plan, new featured property plan, new featured property. Let me tell you the history of that. I had people in my office that were referring to the seller's home to the seller as listing. And normally that wouldn't be bad, but we were getting, it was during the market downturn back in 07, 08, and 09. And people were saying they did not want to list their home. They needed to sell it. They didn't want to list their home again. They just needed to get it sold. So I said, okay, well then we got to change our language, because that's what we do. We sell homes, but we list them, but we sell them. So how can we do it? So I just eradicated or eliminated the word listing from the vocabulary within how we did things. So I changed the listing presentation to seller benefits presentation. I changed the activity plan to featured property plan from new listing plan, right? So, and what that did is that allowed my administrative people and the agents, when words come out of their mouth to sellers, they didn't use the word listing as much. And we begin to do away with being placed in or looked at the same as other real estate agents, just by changing the words that we used. So I took it as far as the activity plan within the contact management system, and that's why you see it the way it is here today. It was a game changer. Andrea, back over to you.
Okay, we have a few questions about the PowerPoint. Is it going to be available?
It's a good question. Okay, so watch really close. Library, file library. Hope everybody's watching. Okay, in the file library, there's another library. It's called Platinum Operation Systems Library. Everybody see that? Platinum Operation Systems Library. When I click on Platinum Operation Systems Library, Platinum Operation Systems, here it is right here, ID 796. ID 796. CRM Plans for Plats, Platinum Operation Systems Manual. Okay? Let me give you another ID number that's really good too. It's going to go back a ways. Here it is. Yeah, ID 336, Platinum A to Z Operations. You can see it's dated July 08, 2008, but it is really good at systems webinar manual, whatever you want to refer to it as. Okay, so I would definitely pull those two as well. Hey, while I've got your attention on that, go ahead and download this one from the late great Daniel Passante, ID 923. Daniel was a great platinum member, excellent platinum member. Passed away not too awful long ago, but very good student, a good implementer of the systems that we had in this program. So many of you remember Daniel, but anyway, this ID number from him was his policies and procedures, best practices and operations procedures that he did for his Century 21 office. He was one of the top 3 Century 21 agents in all of Canada. So anyway, that's worth looking at as well. And those 3 ID numbers, I think, would serve all of you very well. So if you want to work on your business and get a handle on these systems and how you do things and start to lay the groundwork for this, monitoring everything that goes on, then there you go. So you want to pull those 3 ID numbers, okay? All right. So let's go to the next one.
Vinny's asking, does his database manager conduct the autopsy calls?
Okay, so question is, who should call back the appointments when agents come back from a listing appointments, buyer appointments, and they don't have a signed agreement. Who calls the prospect back to see what's going on, try to get the business? So the call comes, I'll tell you probably who should do it, but the call goes something like this. Hey, Mr. Buyer, this is Todd Walters, and thanks for talking to my partner, Lisa, about the purchase of a new home. And I just want to call back and say thank you personally and see what we need to do to get your business. So buyers or sellers, same thing. So who should make that call? Well, I think you should do it if you've never done it before. Okay, here's why. You're going to learn things. You're going to learn whether the people that you've got out on appointments are doing things the way you want them to do it. That's why you make these calls. So when Craig and I say you create the system, okay, as a matter of fact, I think we were just looking at that a little bit ago. Let me go back and do that. Here we go. So when Craig and I say you create the system and delegate it, then you got to kind of be the creator of this script, this call. So when you're making these autopsy calls, you're going to record them, okay? And you're going to develop a script. And you won't have to call too many people to learn what's going on with your agents that are out on these appointments, but you're also going to be developing a script that can easily be delegated to somebody else to make these calls. Somebody important, somebody who can change the outcome, somebody who knows a thing or two about to do it. Because let's suppose this happens. Call the seller back, and you say, hey, thanks for letting my partner John come over and talk to you about selling your house. I just wanted to follow back up and see what we need to do to get your business. And the seller says, well, yeah, the commission rate that John gave us of 7%, it just seemed a little bit high. And, so we just couldn't get beyond that right now, Todd. Okay, let me stop. Because John come back to the office and said that he left them the paperwork. They were going to sign it and send it back in a few days. They just needed to read it. Okay, well, they're telling me something completely different than what John said. So now what are you going to do? Well, you're probably going to say, well, what do you think the commission rate should be then? And they're going to say, well, I don't know. We were thinking more like 6% would be more reasonable. You say, okay, well, we don't want to lose your business. And as long as we're making a profit, we're okay. And I believe we can still turn a profit at that and still do everything we need to get your home sold. So if we were to do it at 6%, are you okay with us handling and selling the house for you? Sure. John said you had the paperwork. Yes. Well, why don't you just draw through the 7, put a 6 in there, sign it and send it on back. We'll get going. Like that's a conversation that somebody well-trained in your office would need to be able to do, right? Handle. So anyway, good question, good, and I think a really good answer. Make you look at it a different way, but you should be making those autopsy calls first before you delegate them to anyone else. All right, Andrew, next question.
Muted. Unmuted.
Andrew?
You muted me.
Oh, I muted you.
Yeah. I was trying to get to my mic so I could unmute myself.
Sorry.
That's okay. Andy is asking, as an independent broker working out of my home and no money to get an office space, what would be the first hire and could that person work from their home? Does that concept work, or do you need to have them working in your same space?
Oh, man, that's pretty good. All right, so let me, I'm going to pause my screen. I'm going to pull something up here. This is going to be really good, so give me a second to find this. I got this in one of my folders on my desktop. Team system. Here it is. Here we go. Okay. So let me show this to everyone. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is the admin help wanted ad that all of you guys have access to. Okay. If you want to know where this ad is, I'll show it to you, and then we'll answer the question better specifically. So go to Platinum Recruiting Systems Library. Platinum Recruiting Systems Library. Platinum Recruiting Systems Library. There it is. Platinum Recruiting Systems Library. And it's going to be ID number or something or another. There it is, ID 1058, admin help wanted ad and information line script, ID 1058. Let's go back and take a look at that. All right, so your first hire. Okay, listen really close because this is good. This is going to be, I think, quite profound. Whether it's your first assistant, your second assistant, or your third assistant, all the assistants know how to do the other assistant's job. So when you hire your first assistant, they're gonna need to know how to do like everything. Okay, they gotta process listings, do CMAs, searches for buyers in MLS for you, process contracts, purchase and sell agreements, tracking, reporting, using your CRM, tagging clients, sending out your newsletters, sending out the direct mail to expireds and FSBOs, placing the ads in the newspaper. Like, they got to know how to do all this stuff, right? So they're probably a real estate agent background, were an agent, are an agent, but not really wanting to be out there on the street selling houses. They're better made for a support role, maybe a high-S personality, okay? So they're going to know how to do all the things. And the ad that you're going to run to get these folks is going to really describe what it is they need to know how to do. So the ad is going to repel and attract, repel and attract. And you also do that in the information line script because you probably want to hear their voice, right? If they're going to be on the phone answering the calls, like, hey, Todd Walters Real Estate, this is Susie, can I help you? Right? You want them to have some sort of pleasant phone voice. If you can wave your magic wand and what you want the people or person to do, then wave your magic wand and only find people to do those things, okay? So the info line script will basically say the same thing. Part of your job means you've got to know how to do these things. Okay, all right. So that ad describes the kind of person you want. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when I hire the next person, that's maybe going to be my listing coordinator or a marketing assistant or my transaction coordinator, they still need to know how to do the other person's job and vice versa. So every time you hire somebody, they're cross-trained in case somebody quits, somebody goes on vacation, right? You know what I'm talking about? So you want every person on your team in the administrative side. You're only going to have probably 4 admin people, true, real admin people for the over the course of your real estate sales team business. I can't see you having more than 4 or 5 people in your office as admin, doing millions of dollars in commissions. So yeah, they're all going to be cross-trained so you can do each other's jobs. Okay, now as far as where they work, I got to think that you would want them in your office, by your side, close to you, so you can see what they're doing, monitoring what they're doing, and you're going to be moving really fast when you hire your first person, right? You're busy, coming and going and coming and going, so you're going to be throwing stuff at them. So it'll work way more effectively if you can get them into your home office to work, or you get a little space somewhere, and you're there and they're there. Okay, you don't need to go out and spend a lot of money, but virtual assistants for first assistants are very limited. You have to tell them what to do frequently, and that becomes difficult. You want someone that can take initiatives versus waiting on things to do. So working together in an office environment, whether it's out of your house or rented space, it'll be more effective for sure. Okay, Andrew, we got time for another question.
Okay, John actually raised his hand. I was going to go ahead and open his mic. John Brackett, go ahead. Hit the red mic on your end. John, you're live with us. Okay. We'll go ahead and move on. I didn't hear him. I'll ask his questions that he typed in. Where can we find all the activity plans independent of presentations? Is there a link location for all activity plans?
Yeah, here they are. Okay, so this PowerPoint has the activity plans on it. As a matter of fact, let me just show you guys real fast. I think they'll stream fast enough. We were looking at the appointment plans. Here's the new listing plan. Here's the what happens the next 30 days. Here's the price change plan. Here is what happens when somebody turns in a new buyer agreement, new listing agreement, what happens when it goes under contract. Okay, here is the closing activity plan for your assistant. Okay, here's what happens after it closes. Here is what the agents do during closings. Okay, here's what happens on buyers for your admin people as well as for your agents. Okay, you can see I'm just clicking through these really fast, not intended for you to read them or whatever. Okay, here to check this. Here's an activity plan on setting up a sale in QuickBooks. How about that? Okay, what happens if it crashes? What do you do then? Well, there's a plan for that called back on market activity plan. Okay, so all of these activity plans are already built out in CP Millionaire Agent. Okay, how about this one? Exit interview. Agent walks in your office or one of your admin people walk in and say, I quit. What do you do then? There's a plan for that. So all of these activity plans, you guys have them at your fingertips in CP Millionaire Agent. Screenshots of these activity plans from Agent Office on the coaching site. Okay, so I'm going to give you that ID number again. Oh, Platinum Operations Systems Library. Sorry. Platinum Operations Systems Library. ID 796. CRM Plans for Plats. Okay, Platinum Operations Systems Manual. Okay, everybody see that? Okay, sweet. Now, I didn't mean to get too in depth there and stretch you too much because I know that what I talked about, some of it was remedial and some of it was quite advanced. So we covered the gamut. But I wanted you to get a different look at and perspective and thought process on how this real estate business that you have should be ran. It's ran by systems. People monitor the systems and do the activities. You should only be doing the things that make you a quantum leap. And at some point in your career here, you have to make a decision that that's how you're going to do things. And trust that money will be there to pay for all of it. Okay? Because you will have more home sales as a result of these things getting done. There will be more sales. Okay? You have to trust that money will show up and reward you for doing the right things. Okay? All right. But again, emphasis on the right things. All right, so fantastic. That was a really good webinar, and I enjoyed doing it with you. It will be recorded. It is recorded. We'll get it posted on the coaching site. You're probably going to want to go back and watch it again. It generated a lot of questions, more than we can get to today. Get your questions lined up. You can make sure you discuss them with your coach about it. But this is what you do every day. You work on your business, looking at it through this lens. All right? Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to let everybody get back to work here. Go sell some houses. I'm going to do the same. And we'll talk to you guys soon now. Take care. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Talk to you all very soon. This officially ends the webinar.